is the Joyce ACC on the campus of Notre Dame, where today the Fighting Irish play the champions of college basketball, the Duke Blue Devils. Good afternoon, everyone. Don Crickey with former Indiana All-American Quinn Buckner. Duke coach Mike Krzyzewski says of his defending champions, we're not as good as last season, but I like where we're at, particularly Quinn coming off a huge win over North Carolina.
Well, the win was huge for them, but what it gives Mike Krzyzewski a chance to do now, here early in February, you like to know where your team is in terms of its development. Cherokee Parks is starting to come along. This allows Mike Krzyzewski an opportunity here playing on a tough place at Notre Dame to get his bench, his rotation together, and that's what he'll try to do this afternoon.
Over the years, this building's been a house of upsets for Notre Dame. The Irish have beaten some great teams here, but to upset Duke, and Duke comes in as a huge favorite, Notre Dame has to shoot the ball better.
Well, they definitely have to shoot the ball better. They're shooting at a 41% clip now. They've got to shoot it at least 50% and hope that Duke just comes in the game flat in order to have a chance. John McLeod is trying to develop his young players. All good young players want to play great competition. Duke has the great competition, so I guarantee that Notre Dame is going to be struggling to get a victory here.
Let's take a look now at the starting lineups today for the Blue Devils and the Fighting Irish. Clark, Grant Hill, Cherokee Parks, Thomas Hill, and Bobby Hurley. Play for the Blue Devils in their starting five: Williams, Russell, John Ross, Taylor, and Hoover, a freshman, will go for the Fighting Irish. Duke comes in with a 16-3 record, coming off perhaps its biggest victory since the win over Michigan for the championship last April when they beat Carolina by 14 last Wednesday night. Parks controls the tap, and Bobby Hurley quarterbacks the Blue Devils from the back line.
Well, Duke will come out right away. The tempo is going to be the key. Notre Dame in their man-to-man. John McLeod has always liked to play man-to-man. Duke just needs to be patient. They'll get good shots.
Over the years, Duke is 8-1 against Notre Dame in the Krzyzewski years. 15-2 overall. Hurley can't get it to go, and Notre Dame starts the break. Duke with two men back shuts off Malik Russell. John Ross brings Cherokee Parks out high. This is the sharpshooting freshman. Hoover leads the Notre Dame team in three-point shots.
Get him in a new position. He's a freshman, and he's primarily a shooter when he got here. But John McLeod wants Hoover to be more of a leader and a playmaker for him.
Here's a steal. Grant Hill leads up court to Hurley. On the left flank is Thomas Hill as Bobby Hurley searches out an open man and gets the ball over to Marty Clark, who can bomb long range, but he missed it all.
And a good transition defense is going to be, I think, critical for Notre Dame.
Malik Russell takes it down low. They play volleyball, and it goes back over to Duke, so still no score.
A lot of emotion here early. That's why you see some turnovers and misplays.
Parks starts to move down low, and there's going to be a foul call on John Ross of Notre Dame, one of the Ross twins.
Ross down inside with Cherokee Parks. You just got to really stay patient because Cherokee will bring the ball back, but he's a very good player down on the block.
Not a shooting foul. Grant Hill, who could play some point next year when Bobby Hurley goes to the pros, playing out high, and this is Thomas Hill, stroking long distance. It's a two-point shot. He was on the line, and Duke takes a 2-0 lead.
The kid with the ball here, Malik Russell, I think is a guy that if he ever decides to play has got tremendous potential. You can see what he can do at 6'7", his ability to penetrate and find open people like he did John Ross.
He decided to play right there, Quinn. A great feed off by Malik Russell. And the Irish tie the game. Crowd really kicking in. Hurley.
That was all from the time it left his hand.
Great look down low by Grant Hill to Thomas Hill. And Parks, who's really been coming on, has the ball knocked out of his hand.
Anytime you get a chance to push the ball up, you should. You see Malik Russell force the defense to make a decision. They do to come help out, and Ross finishes off with the dunk. Now, you've got to find a way to block people off the basketball, and I don't think that Notre Dame is doing a good job. You see Cherokee Park sneak in there to get the ball, gets it knocked away.
Here comes Notre Dame. Monty Williams as Hurley picks him from behind. So you set a thief to catch a thief, and Hurley takes it away from the man who stole it. And a good move to the basket by Thomas Hill, and it's 4-2 Duke.
Body control was great because he was in the air and got his legs taken from under him and still able to control and get it up.
John McLeod said this team's going to get good shots. We do every game. It's a matter of getting them down. A nice look down low. Monty Williams, a comeback story. This into Ross.
Yeah, it's important to be able to find open people. And Monty Williams, for his size, has got good skills in finding open people.
Duke averages 90 points a game. Notre Dame just 63, so the Irish will try to keep the score down if they can. Hurley left open.
Well, he's had 3 or 4 opportunities like that. One of the things that John McLeod wants to do is he calls it dig down, help on the double team. If you do, you got to be careful about Bobby Hurley because he can make that 3-pointer.
Ryan Hoover, the freshman who's guarding Hurley, said Hurley's his hero. So John McLeod told Hoover not to ask for his autograph till after the game.
You know, it's tough on freshmen coming in college and watching guys having been their heroes throughout all of their high school career, and then you play against them. You sometimes get caught in awe of those people.
Ball turns over now to the Duke Blue Devils, who won their first 10 games of the year, then lost 3 of their next 6. Last year they lost only 2 in the ACC all season long, 14-2. They've already lost 3 in the ACC to Georgia Tech, Virginia, and Florida State.
You know, this is not the same team of last year, as we all know, but they played those games pretty well. Georgia Tech played so well that they've gone on a skid since having beat Duke.
Ball will be inbounded to Duke. Looks like Monty Williams put it on the end line. 3 officials working the game are from the ACC as John McLeod in his second year as the head man of the Irish. Hurley with that tremendous burst. If there's an opening, he'll shoot to the hoop. The Luke lead down, and Malik Russell gets it up court. It'll be inbounds to Notre Dame.
Bobby Hurley is such a good penetrator. You've got to be aware at all times that he can find people as well. As you see, that's a mistimed tip, if you will, by Thomas Hill, and that's why he didn't get it up. He caught it coming down instead of going up to the basket.
Hurley picking up Hoover way out high, not allowing the 3-point tries.
That's also the way Duke plays defense. They get out and they pressure you as far out away from the basket as they can. They've got good team quickness at all positions.
Like McLeod said, Quinn, they attack you with their offense and they attack you with their defense at either end. Pressure's always on. Hoover tries to free up. Gets it down low to Ross, who loses it on the way up, and it comes back inbound to the Irish with 15:36 to play.
Be able to protect the basketball when you get it here. You see Grant Hill, this good quickness, gets in there and deflects the ball right out of bounds.
Short of 4.5 minutes gone by, and Duke holds a 3-point lead.
College basketball is brought to you by American Honda, maker of fine quality automobiles, motorcycles, and power equipment. By the makers of Tristan Nasal Spray. Tristan, the face of relief today. By Keystone, Keystone Light and Keystone Dry. Bottled beer taste in a can. Wouldn't that be great? And by Goodyear, #1 in tires.
With Quinn Buckner, this is Don Criqui back at the Joyce ACC at Notre Dame, where Duke, #5 in America, and heading perhaps towards a 3rd national championship, has a 7-4 lead over Notre Dame.
They've been able to get up a lot of shots. They've got 9 shots early. Oh.
Williams with a great move down low, but he can't get it to go, and here comes Grant Hill for the Blue Devils.
Blue Devils have come out. They played zone, 2-3 zone out of timeouts, and they were able to get the ball inside. Williams has got to dunk that ball. I didn't even think he had a chance to get it up, and he just missed a little easy shot.
It was interesting, Quinn. Coach K said yesterday we can never be as good as last year. But he talks about liking where they're at, that he, I think, feels this team is now starting to reach the levels it needs to make that run.
Well, I think he's right. You know, the first thing is you lose a player like Christian Laettner, who's going to be a solid player in the pros, and you lost a lot offensively. So that's a big part of what they lost. But Cherokee Parks is coming along, and they've got some people on the big bench that are starting to play well for him. So I can understand why he's feeling pretty good about the way the team has played, because the losses they've had, they've been close in most of the games.
Malik Russell stealing the ball at one hand, losing it at the other, and it still holds at 7-4 with 15 minutes to go in the first half.
Turnovers will also be a key for Notre Dame. They can't afford to lose opportunities. They scored on the 2 that they had before.
Billy Taylor loses the handle, picks it up. Turnovers have hurt Notre Dame badly this year. Hoover squares up. Garham's out of bounds. Back to Duke.
You know, they're just handling the ball sloppily. I do think that they're a little, you know, in awe of this Duke team coming in here, because coming in the 2-time defending national champion, players will always be concerned about what that team does. The reality is, as we just talked about, this is not the same Duke team that won 2 national championships.
Hurley is 5 assists away from going to number 3 on the all-time list, passing Sherman Douglas of Syracuse. At his current rate, Bobby Hurley is projected to pass Chris Corchiani as the all-time NCAA assist leader in the first or second round game of the ACC tournament, which runs between March 11th and 14th.
I think this matchup with Billy Taylor and Thomas Hill. Thomas Hill is going to eventually get the ball from Taylor, but he just doesn't protect it well enough.
Ross looking low. There's nothing there. Duke always extending that defense, always challenging the passing lanes.
You very rarely get an uncontested shot against the Blue Devils. That's what's making them so tough. Just like Bobby Hurley coming out there.
Malik Russell, a 6'8" forward guard, gets the offensive rebound. Hoover looks, he's got a green light to launch.
Well, he definitely has the light to look, but wait, if he's going to be the leader on the team, he's got to make sure he gets his teammates much more involved than he is right here. You take the shot when you have it, but you've got to be able to slow the tempo down, because offensively, Notre Dame is moving at the tempo that Duke would like them to move at.
At this early point in the game, it has not been a thing of beauty. A lot of turnovers both ways as Parks goes up for brick. We've had a number of those, and here comes Malik Russell again at 6'8" with the dribble. Great play by Grant Hill as he steals it. Goes to Hurley. Notre Dame has 3 men back. And blocking foul on Notre Dame's Ryan Hoover.
One of the things about Bobby Hurley is that people say he's not quick, but he's clever. He gets right here. He gets a shoulder head, and he's just going to force the action because he knows he has help. He gets the foul call against Hoover, who never really established his position. Bobby Hurley, with his ability to penetrate, just sliding, slipping, very tough to handle with the basketball.
Antonio Lang in the game now for the Blue Devils. So is Eric Meek. Mike Krzyzewski told us yesterday he's going to go 9 men deep and use them a lot. He really wants to have a 9-man rotation going as the season wears on. He said it helps you have fresh legs at the end of games, and when you're fresh, you make better decisions on the court. Great offensive rebound by Antonio Lang, who puts it up. Well call on the play.
You are right on target about fresh legs. Antonio Lang, who had been starting, came off the bench, and he's playing against a unit in Notre Dame that has been on the court now some 6 or 7 minutes, and you see him finishing the play just because his fresh legs got him to the ball quicker, and he got up to the basket before the reaction could be had on the part of Notre Dame.
Looked like he may have been hacked before he went up to shoot it. Joe Ross now in the game. Duke holding to a 5-point lead. Billy Taylor doubled up at the baseline of the floor, and he loses the handle as Notre Dame's ball handling early in the game has not been good.
Well, you know what it is? It's the team quickness of Duke. Every time Notre Dame thinks they have a chance to get to the basket, Duke is very good at getting to the baseline and shutting Notre Dame off, and that's what's called the mishandled ball for Notre Dame.
And he's breaking in the game. He goes to the hoop, and they get him on a travel call. And with 12:42 to go in the first half, ball turns back over to Notre Dame.
John McLeod, you talk about the changes. He coached in both Dallas, Phoenix, and New York, and you talk to him about the changes in college and professional basketball. He said the first thing was he had to get the NCAA rule book and to familiarize himself.
Notre Dame has turned the ball over 8 times already in the game. Duke 5 times. Irish haven't scored in 4:15 now, and that was the lament of Coach McLeod. He said we get the shots, but we go cold for long stretches.
And what's tough about that is when you play against a team like Duke that averages 90 points a game, they don't have droughts that long. So if Notre Dame doesn't score more often than not, Duke will on the other end.
Grant Hill not quite enough on it, and Monty Williams again with a rebound. Irish now look to set up their half-court offense.
Well, you can just watch. Ryan Hoover started out at the 3-point line and ended up with the defense moved back to almost 3 steps before he can make a pass.
John McLeod said that's the 9th turnover for Notre Dame. John McLeod said our guys have been looking forward to this. We'll see if they remember it, though. Some early sloppy play. Now, Malik Russell throws the ball away.
That's youth. That's what happens to you when you have youth. You have people trying to make passes they don't normally, or they're not normally capable of making. That's how you throw the ball out of bounds.
In one day,
we send out
Notre Dame with 11 turnovers in just over 8 minutes of play. So that'll never work, but Duke's not shooting the ball well.
Well, that's really helped Notre Dame, if anything has. They're only down 9-4, but Duke is only shooting 29%. They're 4 for 14. Notre Dame is shooting 40%, but the turnovers, they're self-explanatory. If you don't value the basketball, you don't give yourself a chance to win.
Now Lamar Justice is in guarding Hurley. Blakeney getting more and more time as the season wears on for Duke. And here's Chris Collins, a long-distance shooter, a freshman.
Son of Doug Collins, who's here at the game. Chris Collins is definitely known for his shooting ability, as was his dad on both the collegiate and the professional level.
Illinois High School Player of the Year a season ago. There's Doug.
He makes a lot of games. After he does his television games, he'll go into Durham or wherever the games may be, particularly during the week, but he makes an effort to get to all the games he can to see his son play.
One time he and Maravich were probably the two best guards of that during that one stretch. And before he had the foot injuries, Doug Collins.
He was an unconscionable shooter. He was shooting
straight in.
at will.
And 6'6", quick.
Yeah, he was. He was one of the first big guards that really could shoot it.
Antonio Lang strokes a couple down from the line, and Duke extends its lead to 7-4. Biggest of the game. Lamar Justice, a sophomore, bringing it up court. Jason Williams also in the game as Coach McLeod's looking at different people trying to cut down the turnover count and get some shots. Notre Dame's only shot the ball 5 times.
And you saw the defensive possession there. Monty Williams got tangled up, if you will, by Antonio Lang, not protecting the basketball. Again, John McLeod can be patient with these kids because he's got some good players. They just have to come up to this level of competition, and Duke is one of the top teams in the country. Again, trying to make a play that you normally don't make. That play, I would suspect, Joe Ross doesn't try to make in practice. But you get here playing against such good talent, you force yourself in a mistake. You can see 6 minutes where Notre Dame hadn't scored. I mean, but they've had longer droughts. They've gone 7.5 minutes and not scored. But that's an Achilles heel of this team, these big droughts.
Now the Irish come down running. Down low. Monty Williams gets that high percentage shot right over the hoop.
Boy, and he got Antonio Lang's attention. I can guarantee you that.
Williams, Notre Dame's leading scorer at 19 points a game, and their leading rebounder. Justice hand fighting Chris Collins. No foul call.
That's a good practice to get out and put pressure on Collins, because Collins is known primarily as a shooter. They get a chance again. Push it up. See what the defense will do for you. If they let you get to the basket, take it. If they don't, take it. Monty Williams took it. I like this young man. I like his, first of all, after he got through his heart ailment, I like the tenacity to come back and play. He's missed 2 years of basketball, so he's still a little bit rusty, but you can see he's got some skills to be a very good player.
And they were concerned that he had a congenital heart ailment, and he had to sit out the last 2 years. Then he got tested for 5 days at the National Institutes of Health, Washington, and got a clean bill of health, but he's back and playing better than ever. Here's Thomas Hill with a shot for Duke, and John Ross comes down with the bound for Notre Dame.
He can shoot it. Yeah, he can shoot it.
Jason Williams hits for the Irish, and they're back to within 2. Here's Parks doubled up. Steal by Russell.
If I'm John McLeod, I like Russell with the ball sometimes, but he's scary because he'll make plays like that.
Watch this. Grant Hill, who leads Duke in steals, picks one off and takes it down to give the Blue Devils another 4-point lead. We're talking, Quinn, about Grant Hill. They're talking more and more about him possibly succeeding Bobby Hurley at the point next year.
Well, I suspect that they'll give him some minutes at the point, but I would contend that for a prolonged period of time, he's better served if he's playing on the wing position. He's just skilled enough that he can play the point.
He's skilled enough to play all 5 positions.
Not only that, I think when Mike Krzyzewski, when you talk about him, you see the foul by Russell with a good take of Ross. Mike Krzyzewski said that Grant Hill has to be much more assertive. He has been content to be the second option. He's got to make his mind up to be the leader.
Hurley pulls up. Bobby Hurley, whose shooting has gotten better and better year after year, gives Duke again a 4-point advantage. Hurley saying to us before the game that there's no pressure on this Duke team. He said last year there was pressure. We were #1 for 18 straight weeks. Everybody expected us to win. This year there's teams ahead of us, and we like that at this point.
You have older players that tend to talk that way, so Bobby Hurley definitely doesn't feel there's any pressure. You see the play inside. Get the ball, look and see what the defense does. The good ball fake got Cherokee Parks off his feet, and then the help out by Lang allows Russell to get the foul.
Justice inbounds the ball, and this is Malik Russell at 6'8".
Matchup I would look at. If I could get Russell down on the block, I would try it as Monty Williams showing his outside shooting ability, because Russell's being guarded by Thomas Hill with the 2, and Russell has a 3-inch head advantage. You can't let people keep getting shots like that.
Ross with the rebound. Notre Dame coming out with a chance to tie or take the lead with a 3. Russell. Well, Notre Dame, despite all its mistakes, an enormous number of turnovers, rallies back and ties Duke.
They have fought back. They're playing against the Duke team. Many different combinations now with Mike Krzyzewski again trying to make sure he gets some players some time. And you see the shooting ability of Chris Collins.
Left him free, and Collins, the freshman, strokes it to give Duke a 3-point lead. Hurley always hawking the ball out high in Lamar Justice. He'll go for it. He's gone when he gets it. Hurley, when he lacks in size, makes up for sheer breakaway speed. He lifts the big guys back down the floor.
Well, you got to not only have size, but you got to have tenacity to go after the ball, as Malik Russell does right there. And you see, a little premature to be picking himself as #1. You've always got to maintain position. You see right there, Cherokee Parks tries to come over the back of John Ross, comes up with the rebound. One of the things that Notre Dame must do is keep Duke to 1 shot and then push the ball up. The rebounding situation is 11-7 for Notre Dame. They've got to be able to do that in addition to take care of the ball. But unfortunately, Notre Dame now has 14 turnovers.
Both teams have hit 7 field goals. Duke shooting only 35% though, 7 of 20. Notre Dame hitting 59%, but they've only had 12 shots.
This is a chance for Notre Dame to try to take advantage if they can, because you got Bobby Hurley out of the lineup, normally controlling the tempo. Chris Collins, the freshman, trying to lead, but what Mike Krzyzewski did was keep Thomas Hill, another veteran, in there, so he can, Thomas and Grant Hill, in to help manage that tempo.
And that was Parks down low with a terrific move. He gets better game by game, the big sophomore from Huntington Beach, California. Let's watch Cherokee Parks again, the chief here.
Well, he worked so hard, and as I was talking to Mike yesterday, he just said that he's just starting to come stronger and stronger every game. That's the development they really need to have that presence inside, because they have enough outside shooters, and they're really pleased with the progress of Cherokee Parks.
John Ross, and Williams with the carom is way long, and the ball will come inbounds to the Blue Devils. The officials working today's game: Rick Hartzell, Steve Gordon, and Carl Hess from the ACC. Duke with a dominance over Notre Dame in basketball over the years, a 15-2 advantage, 8-1 as we mentioned in the Mike Krzyzewski years.
You can see Mike Krzyzewski got Bobby Hurley right back in the lineup. But Bobby Hurley doesn't sit much for the Blue Devils. He's the guy, as I said, that controls the tempo. He may only sit 2 or 3 minutes a game.
He always seems to be going on a full tank. Hurley with enormous stamina.
I'll tell you, he's really got enormous toughness. I watched him a little bit this summer with the developmental team playing against the Dream Team. And to a man, they will tell you on the Dream Team that Bobby Hurley was one of the toughest people that they had to guard. They couldn't control him. That's
why he's now projected as an NBA lottery pick. Malik Russell hawked on the outside by Thomas Hill. John Ross backs up. And the rebound to Grant Hill, who then leads the break. 3-on-3. Hurley always looking for the lane. A great switch down to Parks. And Hurley inches closer to number 3 on the all-time assist list.
Well, that's what you want Bobby Hurley on the floor for. Push the ball up, especially when you got a guy like Cherokee Parks that can get out in the break with you.
Duke with its biggest lead. Monty Williams getting set to come back in for Notre Dame. Here's Cozen, whose strength is outside shooting, but he's not been freed up. Hoover
got to look at the basket. Good effort, but you got to look at the basket.
Hurley is freed up on a fine pass by Grant Hill, but the rebound is a ricochet shot and taken down by Ross.
You know, this is frustrating for John McLeod, and I'm sure the team, Ryan Hoover tried to go to the basket, didn't look to shoot it, but this is frustrating for all of these guys. They've got 16 turnovers as Notre Dame. Get an opportunity just to push the ball up the court. That's an unforced turnover, but that's something you have to tolerate when you have a young club.
When wouldn't you want to slow your offense down and stop the breaks? They seem to be throwing it away off every break.
I think you've got to teach your club a good basketball. If you have a chance to fast break, you break. You just got to make good decisions on the break, and John McLeod has chosen just to make sure he gets the fundamentals in and not to harness his team.
Monty Williams gets the rebound of Grant Hill's missed shot with 4:13 to play, and Duke leading 24-15. Cloud talking like Pogo years ago. We had met the enemy and they are us. He's talking about we're our own worst enemy with these turnovers. It's been a continuing problem all season long.
And it's much more difficult when you play against a team. Good pass. You play against a team like Duke that forces you into tough plays as it is. Oh, they'll love that here. They'll love that here. You can't go behind your back and not make the play.
Cherokee Parks, the big sophomore center for Duke, apparently with an ailing left wrist as he's being attended to on the Duke bench with 3:46 to play in the half.
Well, here's everybody, Gail Gardner in New York. Coming up on our Prudential.
Thanks, Gail. 3:46 to play in the half. 24-15 Duke in the lead as Notre Dame's turnover count continues to mount.
Well, you saw right there, that was Cherokee Parks' left arm, and he got down there, and you can see that it looked as though he had a hyperextended elbow, but young men tend to bounce back very quickly. He's not rubbing it, so we can assume that he's better.
Duke with 26 shots from the floor. They hit just 10, and Notre Dame 7 of 15 field goals. Notre Dame needs a hit down at this end now to keep Duke from extending into double digits.
They need to just take care of the basketball first. And now they get the basket, because that's been their biggest problem. They've had plenty of opportunities to score. Their unforced error, just a hurried possession, and they end up throwing the ball out of bounds.
Antonio Lang in a high-low game with Thomas Hill, who hits the left-hander.
If you go and help down on the paint, you've got to recover back to your man to at least put some pressure on him. At this point, Duke is shooting pretty much uncontested shots. Got to be much quicker on the part of Notre Dame. He traveled. A little bit too much pressure for him.
Notre Dame now at 17 turnovers in the game. They're catching Duke on a day when the Blue Devils are not hitting high percentages, at least yet.
Well, you and I were talking again at the timeout. I think one of the things, you see the lob coming, you may have Duke a little bit flat. You know, that may be one of the things that happen, in addition to having the many combinations that they've had.
Billy Taylor can't get it to go. Monty Williams almost hit his head on the rim. Gets it back up. 7-point game, Blue Devils.
Oh, boy, he can really get the ball where it has to go. He is so tough. Bobby Hurley was about to take the ball back across the three-point line and away from attacking the basket, and then all of a sudden Thomas Hill showed up and he just put it right on the dime.
Good to see Cherokee Parks okay. He's back in the lineup now. Marty Clark comes out.
I suspect with Cherokee, he's got that elbow. If it's going to be sore, it probably is going to be sore tomorrow, because I saw him come out right away and he put his left arm out, basically just trying to touch Bobby Hurley on his back, which means it's probably feeling pretty good right now.
The foul on John Ross was his second. Thomas Hill growing in the estimation of pro scouts as a possible NBA 2-guard.
Yeah, he really is doing that. I've talked to a number of people who they like his skills. He's a good athlete, quickness, shoots the ball pretty well. There's been some question as to whether or not he puts it on the ground well enough, but he can definitely put the ball down.
Early with the lead to Grant Hill, partially tipped by Notre Dame, and back over to the Irish as the Blue Devils go back down court leading by 8. Notre Dame hasn't been to the line yet.
Notre Dame that's one of the things I thought that has been an additional Achilles heel for them. They don't take it to the basket nearly as aggressively as they should. You've got to take a chance. You can make this shot, but then the next time you need to put it on the floor and make the defense foul. That's what Duke does better than anybody in the country.
Parks muscling the ball down and holding on. This Hurley now looks for the low man. I've known Bobby Hurley since he's been in 8th grade. He's a lot taller than he was when he came to Duke. He's over 6'1" now.
I tell you what, his height, and I'm pleased that he grew. I just was amazed at how tough he is.
He didn't back off.
No, he just doesn't. I don't care how bad it hits. And it got bad for him, as a matter of fact, as I'm sure you remember. He played in the final game against UNLV, and they chewed him alive. And most people would just quit on that. Bobby Hurley came back the next year. He was so much tougher. It was unbelievable.
That was the 30-point loss at Denver to UNLV in a championship game, and then Hurley came back the next year to lead Duke along with Leitner to a national championship, and then yet another one last April. They beat Kansas and then Michigan for back-to-back titles.
Notre Dame not taking care of the basketball, but occasionally they'll get some good plays. You see the pass inside, you get an easy basket. Then Bobby Hurley, again, showing his quickness. The help gets there too late. Coming over the help is Taylor. No question about the foul. You've got to get there and shut the guy off. So in that case, Bobby Hurley, so he doesn't have the angle to complete the play. Taylor got there much too late.
It was always Bobby Hurley's dream, although this is little known, to play at Notre Dame. It was the dream of his dad, who coached him at St. Anthony's in Jersey City. Notre Dame never recruited him. They didn't think he could play at that level. That was in the era of Digger Phelps prior to John McLeod. And now Hurley's come down as his development continues as one of the great point guards in the history of college basketball. When all the numbers are in, he's going to be the all-time leading assist man. It's not a coincidence that winning follows him. His high school team won a championship every year. Once the national championship, the USA Today championship, and he won 4 Jersey State championships. Been at Duke 3 years. They've been in the championship game of the NCAA tournament 3 times, winning 2.
And that all goes back to his competitiveness and how tough he is.
Rebound down to Antonio Lang. Duke doing good work on the defensive end.
I got to tell you, that particular play, I blame more on Notre Dame than I do Duke, because Duke Lang didn't even have the ball. It was just out there for anybody to take, and then all of a sudden you look up, and then it looked as though that Ross was going to get it, and he never got to it.
Malik Russell rips it down, takes off down the court, shoots at the buzzer. He's not close, and the first half ends. And the Blue Devils, despite some errant shooting, benefit from a lot of turnovers by Notre Dame, and Duke leads 32-23. This is Don Quirky with Quinn Buckner, and now we go to Gail Gardner in the Prudential Update after these messages.
But yeah, Mike and I he was the grad assistant on the team that I thought actually was the best team that I played on in college in 1975. And we also worked together as special assistants with Coach Knight on the 1984 Olympic team. So I've known Mike many, many years.
And that 76 team you played on was not half bad. 32-0 in a national championship.
Well, it was decent. You know what? The difference was the other team just had many more combinations that it could go to. But Scott May unfortunately broke his arm, and we lost to a tough Kentucky team that year.
Duke opens the second half, turning the ball over. Freshman Ryan Hoover, who's had problems finding the range. He's 0 for 3 from three-point range. Williams too long, but the putback is good by Malik Russell.
Well, that's one way to get back in the game. I don't think you want to shoot air balls like that, but if Russell can get on the glass, because Williams and Russell are the 2 most possible players, if you will, that can make things happen because they're athletic enough and can make it. They can match the athletic ability of Duke.
Grant Hill fighting for the ball, and it's knocked back to Bobby Hurley. Great kick out from Hurley to Marty Clark. Thomas Hill
saying
foul call. Thomas took a forearm in the head.
Well, he also traveled, and that's what the fans were complaining about. He took a hop, which is legal, but then he took another step after that. But again, never getting back out and preventing the second chance points by Duke.
34-25. Duke in the lead. Ryan Hoover strokes and finally knocks it down. If he heats it up, he can get Notre Dame right back in the game.
Yeah, that's the good thing I like about the three-point shot, that you give teams who get off the bad starts aware. If you're behind, you get your team involved, and particularly on the road, what it does, it gets the fans involved.
Rebound to Clark on the offensive end, and he puts the ball back up. This is a kid that has really improved. He was lost out there as a freshman, and Marty Clark has been a significant player for the Blue Devils, and this is junior season.
And he's been significant enough that they took Antonio Lane, who had been starting. They set him down because Marty Clark is playing so well, and that's giving him a better pop off the bench with Lane off the bench, but Clark has been steady as a starter.
Blake Russell trying to take Clark low, and then he dishes.
Oh, my goodness, what a touch.
Hurley can't save it. And the Irish will inbound the ball, down 36-28. Notre Dame started the season 5-2 and won the Sugar Bowl tournament in New Orleans.
You see right here, Russell take the ball to the basket, no look, and then they tried to power it up, and good hand by Cherokee Park. But that was Williams trying to go over the top. Eventually, the ball got knocked out of bounds by Duke.
Rebound to Parks. And here comes Hurley leading the break. Pressure's always on. Steal. Ryan Hoover on the forward challenge.
What's the block? I know you can see it's coming. He stood here the entire time, and he was timing it.
An excellent foul by Thomas Hill.
Well, Bobby Hurley mistakenly thinks that he can get away here. He gets the ball over to Grant Hill, and you see Hoover get it. You can just see Thomas Hill is just timing this, trying to figure out where he's going to block it, not if he's going to block it. Come over. He's left-handed. He blocks it with his right hand. Athletic ability of Hill tried to get to the ball, puts Hoover on the line for 2 shots.
Hoover, the freshman from Roscoe, Illinois, like Hurley's the son of the high school coach. His dad coached high school basketball for 30 years in Illinois. Notre Dame has another standout freshman guard who is out for the season with a cracked bone in his foot, Keith Karowski, who was probably their best guard in the preseason workout.
Yeah, he really was. They were somebody they were dependent on to come through, but injuries happen. They just had to make the substitute. But it gives Hoover a chance to learn how to play a little bit more of this point guard position.
Field goal percentages now evening up.
Looks like coming out of the halftime there were 2 points made, I think, on the part of Mike Krzyzewski. One was the first 3 shots were taken by Grant Hill. I'm sure he told him to be more assertive.
Marty Clark gets kicked going down low, and somehow Cherokee Parks fights his way to the ball.
Oh, yeah. That's a good call. To the basket was the grab. The other point I was going to make was the one was Grant Hill was going to be more aggressive, and if he had a chance to get it into Cherokee Parks, throw it down, you see the penetration. Now watch the hand come in right here of Ryan Hoover. No question about the foul. The official, even though he may have looked to be out of position, was right there and makes the appropriate call.
Grant Hill jumps over the defense and gets the roll, and Duke goes up 38-30.
You know what most people really don't know about Grant Hill. He shoots at about 57%.
Yeah.
You look at his stats per game, you'll see he's 9 for 14. Just a phenomenal percentage.
He's another one who greatly impressed the NBA Dream Teamers when they went against him in San Diego. Now play is stopped and a foul call
on Grant Hill. He and Monty Williams started bumping around a little bit, and the official made the call. Grant is saying it was a bad call, but that's typical of a guy who gets a foul call against him.
Notre Dame rebounding hard, playing defense hard, and staying in the game despite some ineptitude handling the ball. All those turnovers primarily earlier in the game. They had 11 turnovers when the game was 8 minutes old. He's picked by Grant Hill.
Taylor gets away with one on that one. Grant is pushing out. And Taylor, where he gets away with it is he reaches for the basketball. A good effort here as you see the shot goes up. Now, I thought, as you see the strip, well, I don't know. That official is there. That's his third foul, though. The official felt that he had established position, Taylor established position, and he makes the call and forces Grant Hill to sit down with 3 fouls.
Grant 3 of 10 shooting the ball today. Jason Williams can't get it to go, but Monty Williams goes down the rebound.
That's a good play, and I'll tell you why. Not only is it an offensive rebound, but he looked up right away and he saw he had a shorter player guarding him, and Williams just took it over the top.
Duke's a much better team from a personnel standpoint than Notre Dame, but the Irish won't go away. They'll hang in. Parks is fouled as he goes to the hoop. Cherokee holding his hand again. He took a rap on the other wrist this time.
Well, this is a tough pass to make, but it's away from the defense, young players, and that's what you should know. You see, you could take your choice of who fouled Cherokee Parks on that one. But Bobby Hurley's pass was away from his defender, and that's what young players need to understand. You're always trying to, the toughest pass to make sometimes is that entry pass. And if you can throw it away from the defender and lead a guy into a shot like you did right there with Cherokee Parks, the results from Bobby Hurley to Parks are 2 foul shots.
Cherokee going with that Captain Midnight look at eye goggles. Duke up by 7. Interesting when Coach K really lauding the play of Cherokee Parks and the way he's come out. And well, you really get the feeling, while Krzyzewski won't say it, that this is a national championship contender again. Back after these messages from your local station.
Sunday, it was his 6th birthday.
He kept saying that it was his fault.
There is the proud mom of Mike Krzyzewski, Mrs. Emily Krzyzewski, recently 81 years old.
Yeah, Mike says, I talked to Mickey Krzyzewski, who's also over there, and Mike, every time he gets in this area, Mike gets the family to come so Mom can bring some Polish sausage and other goodies for him.
Mike, a native Chicagoan, there's a lot of family down for this game as Notre Dame now down by 8 with 15:30 to play. Trying to get it down low, and Duke keeps cordoning off that paint and drop back. Play a man, but it almost becomes a zone when you get it down low.
They flatten it out and it becomes a zone. And one of the other advantages is that you see Monty Williams going at Antonio Lang. If you get Antonio out on the court, you get a chance to take advantage of your quickness if you're Monty Williams, and that's what he did on that particular play.
Bobby Hurley a bit long. And Thomas tips it over the backboard inbounds to Notre Dame.
Well, I see right now Malik Russell look like he's getting some back spasms. He may be going out of the game right there. Yeah, they're trying to get him off the court. He's feeling a little bit sore. He's already asked John McLeod to take him out. They're playing with much more confidence. He misses that shot, but Notre Dame is playing much more confidence than they did earlier.
Is rejected, but he will go to the line.
Well, see, that's what I mean by he took the ball up to the basket early in the first half. There was a play, and I said Notre Dame was at blame for not getting the rebound. Ross was that player. You got to go at it aggressively, make the play. He not only goes and gets the rebound here, but he takes it up strong. And this way, you force the official to make a call. He felt that there was some contact, calls the foul on Cherokee Parks.
Malik has no trouble in the classroom. He comes out of a program for gifted students at Stuyvesant High School in New York.
You know, and you talk to the coaching staff, he is very gifted both as an athlete and academically. One of the things that I found with guys that are extremely gifted is that they have they have diverse interests, a great deal more than some other guys. And Malik Russell, one of the concerns they have about him is will he take it to the next level? Will he get really serious or involved in basketball? Should he do that, he could play at the next level.
Fighting Irish had come back to within 4 against heavily favored Duke. Blue Devils a 16-point favorite in the local papers as Parks is doubled up and kicks it out to Hill. Thomas Hill doing good work for the Blue Devils.
It's too easy. I mean, there's inside, outside, and then the next thing you know, he's shooting a 5-footer. That's way too easy. You got to, once you force it outside, you make him shoot the jump shot with a hand in his face. Got to get it to him. He was in there all the time. You got to get it to him, because I tell you what, Monty Williams is the problem for Antonio Lang. He's going to need some help. His teammates are going to have to help him out, because Williams just can get too good position on Lang.
These officials are good. I guess you'd expect them to be coming out of the ACC.
They really are. They've been, as far as the game, the way I determine whether officials are good is if you're looking at many calls, and we haven't spent much time doing that because they've been right on top of every call.
Former Notre Dame athletic director Gene Corrigan, the commissioner of the ACC. Coach K was worried he'd send 3 Notre Dame grads out here. Monty Williams.
They gave him a 2-pointer for that. He stepped on the line, but you can see, again, Notre Dame playing with much more confidence, hopefully getting the fans involved, and then you see him play at a little bit different level, higher level.
Man, big-time play on a leaner by Grant Hill, and the Blue Devils again go up by 6.
Got to force the Blue Devils to work longer on the offensive end than that. They came down, pushed it up, and got a shot within 4 or 5 seconds. Lob. But that's what you get on the other end. Really steady, Grant Hill, but that dunk, I thought the ball was going out of bounds.
This building exploded. Coach McLeod up directing his offense from the bench. Jason Williams low. Monty Williams. Oh, he's looking for the cutter, and John Ross was too far away.
Well, you get a chance to throw it up, you try to throw it somewhere near the basket. This is nowhere near the basket. And look where he takes it from behind the backboard on our angle and gets it down. Monty Williams, please.
That is the stuff of which NBA players are made.
Well, I tell you, he's got the talent. There's no question about it. But again, he's been rusty, so you're looking at a player that missed 2 years of organized basketball, so he's got a way to go.
Now Duke throws an errant pass.
Here you come, Monty Williams coming down, number 3. Takes a little shot from Antonio Lang, and watch, he'll push Antonio right here. He pushed him out, and then he gets it. Tries to make a play there, and then he looked to get it to Ross, but Ross had turned his back.
Monty Williams now with 12 points to lead the Fighting Irish, who again trail by 6. And then Monty Williams with 16 points now, 6 rebounds.
Yeah, he's really become active, and with Antonio Lang, he's got a better shot to beat him. That's why they got Grant Hill guarding Ross, because Lang can afford the foul if he has to on Williams, where Grant Hill with 3 fouls cannot. Dump it down, make him play. Dump it down. Exactly. You got to make him play the defense. If once you get a guy and you got him on the ropes, you go after him. Right here, Monty Williams, number 3. Watch him. He knows right now he wants to dunk. Lane goes for the fake up, and the ball is literally off the side of the backboard, and he finishes it.
16 fouls on the Blue Devils now. That could be a factor.
Seems that some boys just don't know how to play nice.
So you wanna play tough?
Introducing the bold new Ford Ranger.
You say you wanna play me?
With its new look, Ranger's changing the rules.
The package delivery company more companies count on. By Scope, the best thing first thing in the morning. And by Owens Corning, we can help you get a foothold on your energy bills.
With Quinn Buckner, this is Don Criqui back at Notre Dame as a little Irish fan, up and with something to cheer about at this point. Notre Dame staying in the game. Down by 6 as the Irish set it up from underneath.
They've been able to stay in the game on the play of Monty Williams, who's just with Antonio Lang guarding. Notre Dame has done everything they can to get the ball, but somebody else has got to step up, because I guarantee you in that timeout, Mike Krzyzewski's saying, let somebody else beat us. Monty Williams shouldn't beat us.
Golden opportunity, could not convert.
Boy, it really was. I tell you, it was a good pass, and he just needed to dunk it.
It was off the hands of the Blue Devils. The ball comes back inbounds to Notre Dame.
Good read. The overplay, and he should have dunked the ball. Tried to get cute with it.
Hurley breaking up the play. Back inbounds though to the Irish.
Bobby Hurley's had that play all game and just kind of laid dormant on it. Looked almost that time, picked it off, because he knows the play you can get almost at any time, because Notre Dame mixed that out-of-bounds pass with a lob.
They're going to get Ross on an offensive call. John Ross spinning off, and the ball turns over to Duke. Notre Dame has played its best basketball against the better teams. Here's Ross.
You see, he starts down before the contact. Ross has really played pretty well for them. But Cherokee Parks, one of the things you learn as you play with wiser players like Christian Laettner is there are opportunities where you can take advantage of situations. Thomas Hill taking advantage of the pick there on the other end. I thought Christian Laettner, Cherokee Parks did a good job taking advantage of the knowing that officials will give the benefit of the doubt sometimes to a big man falling away.
In December, Notre Dame led now #1 Indiana by 2 points in the final minute of the game on this floor. Ended up losing by 5. Duke taking some time off the clock now with an 8-point lead. And 10:45 to play in the game.
Duke will be patient and then get the ball down the side. I would try to make Monty Williams play some defense on Antonio Lane.
Thomas Hill. They've gotten Parks on a push-off underneath.
Yeah, that's exactly what they got. Cherokee Parks was inside, and he was trying to do was it Ross or a little bit of the pace is where you need it here, because I thought coming into the game that the one thing that needed to happen in order for Notre Dame when they needed to shoot the ball, they've got to score about in the 70s at least. And they got to keep Duke down in the mid-60s, and that's just something that Duke doesn't do very often. But if you get a chance, that's the only way you beat a team like Duke that's high-powered like that.
Yeah, Duke a 90-point-a-game team this season. Here comes Hurley.
That's forcing the action.
He's tripped by Hoover.
Yes. That's what Notre Dame doesn't do very well. You know, they had no foul shots at halftime. You see, that's just force the action. What you do is you put the official in a position. He's got to make one call or the other. The majority of the time, they're going to give that call to the offense.
And Hill loses the handle. Malik Russell gets the ball and goes to Hoover. One of the reasons that Duke is improving all the time, Krzyzewski says, is because we've had Hurley all year. People forget he was out 3.5 weeks last year with a foot problem. They lost Grant Hill for over 2 weeks.
You know, but I really think that helped them when it's all said and done. That's an offensive foul right there on John Ross, no question. The reason that helps them is because Duke was doing so well, having come off the previous season, defending national champions. One of the things that can happen to you is you become a bit stale as a team because you have so much success. When Hurley went out, it gives them a different challenge. And that's when they put Grant Hill in, and now you got to learn how to work with Grant Hill. So they got a couple different challenges, and I thought kept them fresh throughout the season.
Brings 4 men out around the arc.
They're trying to make too much happen right there. And that's what Mike Krzyzewski was telling them. Just basically, just take your time. You don't have to force it. They're able to get opportunities.
Krzyzewski had some nice things to say about McLeod yesterday. He said this is a very well-coached team. Maybe not real experienced or as deep in talent as they'd like to be, but this team is well-coached.
Well, and the reason that's really good, I mean, obviously that's always good. What it talks about, though, is that when you get the talent up and you're giving them good fundamentals, they'll make some good things happen here at Notre Dame. I don't think there's any question John McLeod will do that, because one of the things that impresses young kids is the way he handles himself. He's very soft-spoken, but he's very firm. And kids today look for that. They have a real tough time taking anything as a rule where people are very aggressive at them verbally.
Yeah, he has to live with a lot of mistakes with a young team, but he handles it well. He said he never browbeats anybody. He just teaches. He's constantly teaching the team. Malik Russell with a reject of Thomas Hill.
And a little scowl on his face to go with it. You'll see him come from the left side of your screen, go up, gets the ball. There's a little foul after the ball, but the officials felt it appropriately that on the shot. That's all ball.
That reached the 3, and there's a foul on the play.
4-point. Oh, they gave it to him. 4-point play. Got to know your people going out. Ryan Hoover gets there too late. There's no question about it. After Bobby Hurley lets it go, three-pointer down, Bobby Hurley looking to complete it. A 4-point play.
You see the Duke career record holder for three-point shots. He has 9 points so far today, and now 10, and the Blue Devils have extended their lead to 10 points again after Notre Dame came to within 4.
Well, that's a big play in this regard, because what it does is it kind of deflates the crowd here a little bit, and Duke is falling back into Mike Krzyzewski doesn't play a lot of zone, but every now and then he'll go into a zone look, and they're playing like a 1-3-1 because they're going to test the outside shooting on the part of Notre Dame. And that's the result. Now you're going to chase it down. That's a foul on Grant Hill. Oh, that's squeezing in. The official is saying that John Ross held him off with his left arm.
Yeah.
Here you see the shot. And watch on the far, on the bottom of your screen coming up. Watch the left arm. That arm just got tangled up there, because you could have very easily have said that Grant Hill was holding the arm. But again, we get the benefit of the slow motion. Tough call. Tough call. This sequence here has been a sequence that could very well be the problem, or be considered the problem for Notre Dame, because they were down 6. Bobby Hurley makes a three-point shot. Then he gets the 4th point. And now you got Grant Hill after the stop on the other end going to try to finish a bonus, get in the bonus and complete it.
Grant Hill at the line. Duke on the verge of maybe delivering a knockout punch as they now open up an 11-point lead with 8:30 to go. Coming up next on NBC Sports, hockey's very best at the National Hockey League All-Star Game from the Forum in Montreal, immediately following Notre Dame Duke basketball. Notre Dame, Quinn, really needs a hit at this end now, down by 12.
Yeah, they do. They need to get a basket here, and you can see it's taking a long time. They're down to actually 28 seconds on the shot clock getting set, so they took 17 seconds just to set up on the offensive end. You want to be patient, but you need to be aggressive in the attack too. I can assure you there is some concern about where Monty Williams is, because he was the primary offense on the part of Notre Dame. Tough shot, real tough. Yeah, they got a break there. That was an extremely tough shot. Marty Clark goes out to get it, but they're taking it with pressure on him much more so now than they had in the past.
Marty back in home territory. He's a native Chicagoan. I'm out with Duke up by 12.
Was put Marty Clark on Monty Williams. He exerted him in the lineup. He's starting now, and this is the reason, because he's a good defender. Antonio Lang had a tough time guarding Monty Williams, so Marty Clark has been brought in to make sure he keeps the pressure on Monty Williams. He's also the guy that almost saved the ball as it went out of bounds.
Monty is the leading scorer in the game. Monty Williams of Notre Dame with 16. Grant Hill leads Duke with 14. Thomas Hill has 13. Bobby Hurley with 10. Duke playing some D now. Contesting every pass, and Antonio Lang comes up with the ball.
Got both Lang and Clark in this lineup. And what they've been able to do is this is a much more active lineup here. Now he's got enough ball handlers out. With Clark, he's got Grant Hill. That's what makes it tough. You got to go out and guard Grant Hill at 6'8". Boy, it makes it hard to play defense. Duke obviously choosing to pull the ball back to make the Irish come out and guard him.
Bobby Hurley with the ball. Doesn't look like he's wearing socks. He's got that Mike Tyson look. Bobby Hurley.
No, guys do nowadays, you know, way back it was wear them up to your knees. They now wear those half socks, if you will. So they're way down in there, but they still protect the feet from the friction of the shoe.
Quick look at it. Our producer today for NBC, John Faratzis. Our director, Richard Klein. Executive producer, Terry O'Neill. As Grant Hill does good things going to the hoop and extends Duke's lead now to 56-42. So the Irish have to start launching threes to get back in this thing.
That's when you can tell that the manpower on the part of Duke is just taking over. There have been a lot of substitution. Duke forces you to work pretty hard on both ends of the court. missed shot here that didn't even hit the rim. I mean, hit the backboard, and then Grant Hill able to get to the basket on the other end. And Clark traveled. He was cranking up for that dunk. And he's complaining about the foul, but he was cranking up. You'll see right here, he's getting it, but he's winding up for it, too.
He was doing that. Parks, a sophomore, he was the number 2 rated big man coming out of high school basketball. His senior year, the number 1 player was Chris Webber of Michigan.
They got another player that's pretty good around here at Purdue. Young man by the name of Glenn Robinson. As they do at Indiana, Calvert Cheney is a good player. There's some good players that come in from the Midwest.
Calvert's approaching that super category.
He's been so consistent, and having talked to Coach Knight, Bob Knight at Indiana University, he likes him. He thinks he's as good a four, probably the best four he's had.
Is that right?
Well, Mike Woodson was a great scorer in Indiana University history, and as well was Scott Mays. But Scotty was a great shooter. This young man is a better athlete than both of them, and he's a scorer. So he can get it down as a scorer and shoot jump shots. He's a very difficult player to guard.
Really came to the fore in the final 2 games of the Big Apple NIT at Madison Square Garden in November. Calvert Cheney went for over 30 in 2 games as IU won that tournament.
Got 1 and 1.
Marty Clark goes to the line now for Duke.
Marty Clark's got a contingent that came over to see. And this is one of the few times that the Duke Blue Devils get this close to the Chicagoland area. So that's why we saw Doug Collins come over earlier, father of Chris Collins. Marty Clark has got a contingent over about 15 people. So this is their opportunity, and that's why Mike Krzyzewski's mother, his brother, and he brings his family here so they get a chance to spend some time. There's the family. There's Mick Krzyzewski in the black on the left, and daughter Lindy, and Emily right there, the mother, on the right in the red.
It has not all been roses for Krzyzewski at Duke. He's very grateful to the man who hired him, Tom Butters, the athletic director at Duke. They had a winning record his first year, 13 seasons ago, then 2 losing records. There was some pressure on Coach K. Butters stood by him and said, "We've got the right guy," and he surely was right.
Oh, that's a mild understatement. You know, Mike took a lot of the stuff that he got with Coach Knight, you know, both at Army and when he was at Indiana, and he puts his own little style, his little twist to it, and he's been able to get the players to come in, and they've done an outstanding job at Duke. But you talk about outstanding jobs, one of the things you got to have, I don't care what the level is, you got to have good effort. You see right there, Ross gets the ball up, and he almost was able to get it back in, just couldn't get the finish.
Here comes Antonio Lang back in the game for Grant Hill.
Again, Duke rotating different people, giving everybody a little bit of a break, a little bit of an experience here. First leg.
No, you got it.
Notre Dame continues to have problems at the line. Duke in command of the game at this point after Notre Dame came to within 4 here in the second half.
You and I looked at that. They came within 4, and then we looked at that all of a sudden with 11 minutes to go, they were 1 foul from the penalty, and the first thing I looked and said to you is that they're a 67% foul shooting team, and that's the problem that John McLeod, I'm sure, is talking to his team about, because you get a chance to score without the clock moving when you're down 15 points, as is Notre Dame.
Bobby Hurley going to the line, the on-court leader of the Blue Devils. He really took the baton at halftime of that Michigan NCAA championship game last April. Christian Laettner, who'd been the outspoken leader, the college player of the year, had a terrible first half, 7 turnovers, shot 2 of 7, had only 2 rebounds, and Hurley challenged him at halftime. He said, "Hey, we're giving 110%. Why aren't you?" Laettner responded, came out and played a great second half, and Duke won by 20.
Yeah, and, you know, I think Bobby Hurley was right in one regard, but we talked about this a little bit earlier. When Bobby Hurley went out, all of a sudden the one person that probably had to step up more than anybody else was Christian Laettner. So he might have just been flat out leg weary. But one of the things you always want on the team is somebody your teammates should always police each other. And when you do that, there's a mutual admiration society amongst the squad. And that's how they got Christian Laettner to come out and play much harder.
Another foul call stops the clock with 4:29 left to play in the game, and Duke holding to a 17-point lead as the freshman three-point shooter Ryan Hoover comes back out. Jason Williams goes to the bench.
Okay, well, I got 2 shots.
Get Ryan Hoover in here and get a little more experience playing against these good teams. Well, he's quietly gotten those 13 points, Thomas Hill. That's what makes him look like a pretty good project, if you will, at the next level, because you don't have to run a lot of offense for him. He gets his hand on loose balls, and he can get out on the break for you a little bit. He can defend.
The confidence level of this Duke team is something you can't teach a team. You can only experience it. They've had so much success. No matter where they're at in a game, they know they're going to come back.
And that's what John McCloud is trying to get his young team to learn. You've got to believe in yourself individually and yourself collectively, so that you play against good teams like Duke and you get a chance to experience what Duke acts like when they get themselves in situations where they're either up or they're down, and how they play from those positions.
Hoover with too much on it, and the ball is back to Duke as Hurley now at his leisure, which is rare, brings it up slowly. He's always searching out that open lane, looking for the open man.
The interesting thing about it, Don, is not only does he search it out, he's capable of getting to it. That's a lot of people. I mean,
yeah, he's got the speed. He's got the burst to hit the gap.
Yeah, he does, and but he slides, which makes it hard to guard him. Most guys either beat you and they cut right through the opening. He kind of gets to it and then darts one way or the other, and you have trouble recovering without fouling.
One of his best memories, he said, of playing against the Dream Team. Hurley said they decided Coach Daly wanted him to press the Dream Team, and Magic was bringing the ball up court. So I went up to press him. He said Magic gave me a look and just threw the ball about 50 feet down the court. That's the end of your press, son.
Yeah, that'll break a press in a hurry when you're 6'9" and you can just throw right over the top of it. Mike Krzyzewski's made more changes. He's put Eric Mix into the game. Just, again, getting some experience to players who haven't had a chance to play much. Trying to round out that bench.
Blue Devils head back into ACC play Monday night and to Clemson.
That's a lane violation. That's a good call. That's a good call. It was a little late. The official rightfully waited, because if the shot is made by Thomas Hill, there really isn't a need to make the call. Just give Thomas Hill a chance to work on his free throw shooting.
Thomas Hill, his coaches say, will do whatever it takes to get better. Tremendous work ethic, and he gives Duke a 20-point lead, 63-43 with 3:39 to play. With Quinn Buckner, Don Crickey back at the Joyce ACC at Notre Dame, where the Fighting Irish, who were down by just 4 in the second half to heavily favored Duke, have now fallen behind by 20. Duke keeps that defense extended to keep Notre Dame away from the three-point shots it needs to get back in. 3:25 to play.
You got to shoot the ball when you got it. Monty Williams is looking inside. He's been the offense. He's just got to shoot the ball. But Duke played a little bit of their zone defense. Again, just don't want to get anybody into foul trouble. Make everybody work a little bit for the perimeter shot on the part of Notre Dame.
No foul call, and it comes back the other way.
He went a little bit to the imagination on that shot.
He ended up in row B, but back down the floor. Not a day of celebration for the Fighting Irish, but it's been a week of one. Lou Holtz had probably the best recruiting class that he's had since he's come here, and he's had some terrific ones. For the Fighting Irish football team, here's a foul on Williams.
Bobby Hurley decided, all right, let me try a new sport. Football and another step, and then let me toss it in the air. He got cracked a little bit. There's no doubt about it. But you're down on the other end. You see Hurley getting out, anticipating. Foul call on Monty Williams with the anticipation of Bobby Hurley to get out there, force the action a little bit on the defensive end.
Coach K always schedules a very tough January for Duke. That's when you really start to build your team. It's all geared towards March. Mike Gray, one of his assistants next to him, one of the top young coaches in the game. Assisted along with Tommy Amaker and Pete Gaudette.
That's Tommy Amaker right there, one of his great point guards.
One of John McLeod's assistants, Jimmy Black, was the point guard on North Carolina's 1984 national championship team. There's Jimmy, hand on his face, the Michael Jordan team.
Boy, he was Michael Jordan, James Worthy, Sam Perkins. They had a squad that year. Michael Jordan came down, knocked down the jump shot, as he's been doing with regularity at the next level. You know, we're talking to James Worthy about this only recently, and Worthy said that everybody knew that Michael was good and thought he was, by virtue of that, quote, special, unquote. But as nobody thought Michael Jordan would come and dominate the league the way he does. And I've talked to many of the guys in the NBA, and there's no question. Michael Jordan is at a level that is far superior to anybody. And I've never heard him talk about any player with the kind of reverence they talk about Michael Jordan.
Well, I think one of the things about him, you see the extraordinary plays he makes, but it's also his will to win. It's
very, very competitive. I spent time with him in Barcelona, and we're working on our golf game. And I'm telling you, he'll get himself behind a tree, and he'll say he can make the shot or get it close, and he has done it more often than not.
Something that's not widely known about Michael Jordan, he has an unbelievable memory. He can harken back to every game, talk about how many points everybody in the opposition had, where they got him from. He almost has a mind that can relive a game and go through it play by play. Big NBA day tomorrow on NBC Sports, a doubleheader day.
They play Portland. Chicago-Portland game is one that Portland has struggled. As a matter of fact, they lost again last night, so they've lost 2 in a row at home. They lost to Minnesota, and they lost last night to Orlando and Shaquille O'Neal. And Shaquille and his club go and play in a game against the Phoenix Suns, so you'll get to see Charles Barkley and Shaquille O'Neal. Not a bad Sunday afternoon.
Hey. Doubleheader NBA day tomorrow on NBC Sports. Jack Bet is an advertised apparently, Quinn. You've seen him a lot.
It's unbelievable how good this young man is. And what's really it's crazy to say this, but he really doesn't know how to play. He just does it on pure athletic ability as a rule. If he starts getting little ball fakes to get you out of position, you're in trouble, because once he moves you out of position, he is such a big, strong, quick man, you are just beat.
Chris Collins, the freshman, now working at the point. Still to come today is the National Hockey League All-Star Game. We'll be going to Gail Gardner with the Prudential Sports Update to recap the scores from this afternoon before going to the Forum in Montreal. As we're down now to 1 minute 2 seconds to play here at the Joyce ACC. Blakeney loses it. Notre Dame comes down in a 3-on-1 break. Our Justice leads to Billy Taylor. That throws it to Thomas Hill.
That's a classic example of what you get when you get used. You got a 3-on-2. You take the ball into the defense stop, and then you pass it off. That time there was no decision made or forced on the part of the offense of Notre Dame. That's what John McLeod has been trying to teach, and that's what Duke does so extremely well. That's a foul in a basket. Oh, he almost made the basket.
So Duke picked up a big momentum builder with the win over North Carolina. They call that Duke NC round 1. They'll play again on the final regular season game at Chapel Hill. 8 miles apart.
8 miles apart, and 2 very good programs. Mike Krzyzewski has said that he thinks that Duke and Indiana are, 2 of the top teams in the country right now. And what Mike Krzyzewski is trying to do is get his club to be prepared to play better against that kind of competition. Though they already have beaten North Carolina, they need to feel like they can do it, I think, with a little more sense of comfort. I think they played well, but Mike was not as comfortable with the way they played.
Carolina's tremendous.
They're talented. They've got some good players. Eric Montross is the center, is a good player. They got him from here in Indianapolis, here in Indiana. George Lynch, Phelps, they've got good players on the team. Coach Smith is one of the greatest coaches that's been involved in basketball, so they've got a lot of talent there.
Probably 7 teams that could win it all, including Cincinnati. The Bearcats not getting the press they deserve. That's a great basketball team under Huggins. As Marty Clark loses the handle.
Get a chance to get a dunk and you blow a dunk. Marty, you're here with the home folks. You got to make that one.
Got a launch here. Here's a foul call on Clark. That'll send Brooks Boyer to the line for Notre Dame. So Duke will open up now a record of 17-3 on the season. Irish fall to 7-10. A week ago, John McLeod's team almost beat UCLA at Los Angeles. Lost by 3 at the very end of the game.
They've been playing a competitive schedule. That's the one thing about them. They played, Boston College and Providence from the Big East. They played Michigan, Indiana from the Big Ten. They're playing right here at the ACC. They play Kentucky. So they play top 10 teams. So that's the one thing you have to like for the program is that if you come here, you get to play against some pretty good teams.
He's got 2 good big men coming next year. And already John McLeod, just his second year, is one of the most popular people on the Notre Dame campus. Better things are yet to come. Good things are already here and have been for some time for the Duke Blue Devils, who win again 67-50. We'll be coming back to the Joyce ACC and checking in with Gail Gardner in a moment.
This is a Goodyear AquaTread, and this is a gallon of water. At highway speeds in a rainstorm, Goodyear AquaTread pumps a gallon of water every second thanks to its computer-designed Deep Groove Aqua Channel. It channels water away as you drive to keep more of the tire in contact with the road for outstanding wet weather traction. It's only from Goodyear, and it comes with a 60,000-mile tread life warranty. The all-season AquaTread. Try a set. We like to say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
His name is Bob.
Bob. Bob's great.
He comes in every day.
He's tall, dark, and handsome.
Bob, the UPS driver.
His other nickname is the Package Warrior.
development of an effective team man-to-man defense. The first of these is conditioning. Your team must be in outstanding condition. Defenses